Hey guys, what's growing? It's Heather at Bush Puppy Farm. Before we head on our trip, I wanted to give you guys a farm tour for July. So I've already posted the garden tour for July. Now I'm going to be posting the July farm tour. This is also a really big help for me because it's a video journal of how things are, and I can compare them year over year, and definitely there's big differences here this July than there was last July, but let's take a look. Camera will probably start overheating at some point. It's not very hot today, but it seems like this camera likes to overheat if it runs for a little too long, so I will do my best to not ramble too much. Let's get started. Okay, coming in through the main gate is our pollinator bed, and it's still looking great. We've got Coreopsis, a bunch of different types of lavender, all still in bloom. The calendula looking rough, but that's been blooming since January, so it's not surprising. It's got powdery mildew. I cut a bunch of it back. I'll cut more back when we get back. But we've got Sweet Alyssum and a bunch of California wildflowers in here, some Clarkia, and look at these poppies. I'm so thrilled with these because I have never had luck growing poppies. There's Phacelia, here's some more poppies. The Liatris is just starting to go. Now I'll miss a lot of this. I won't be able to harvest a lot of it because we'll be gone for 2 weeks, but that's all right because especially with these poppies, they will drop seed, and we'll have more poppies here next year. So this is all looking good. Look at this Agastache. I think this is Navajo Sunset. I planted 2 different varieties here. And you can see this one back here is actually slightly different variety from this one. It's hard to tell. And then we've got catmint and some other, like there's hyssop, some other stuff in here. This was a giant borage that was mostly died back. It will come back in various places. More catmint and salvias and echinaceas popping up in here. And we've got all of this beautiful chamomile. So all of these beds looking really good. This bed, there needs to be a lot of weeding in here too, obviously. You see all that, those yellow flowers are mustard. Definitely not something that we want. But some more Clarkia and things coming up. I don't even know if we're gonna get, this one squash plant. Oh look, there's some fun little zucchinis on there. These are a ball variety. What is this one called? 8-ball, 2 to 3 inch round fruits. That one right there is getting real close. Too bad we'll miss it. And then here's how the Liatris starts. I think it's so cool. A lot of times, flowers like this with multiple blooms on a stem will start blooming at the bottom and bloom all the way up to the top. Liatris starts at the top and fills out to the bottom, which I think is really fun. This is another borage here, just self-sown. Here's some zucchini. Yeah, so maybe when we get back, we'll actually have some fruits. But this time last year, these plants here were huge. They were the size of small cars. So it's still shocking to me how far behind we are in the season. Sweet Williams still blooming and some Cosmos going here. Back in the pollinator bed, I just wanted to, this Buddleia, amazing. That purple is so vibrant. And then we've got a Mexican sage there. It's very happy. And the corn is looking good. It's finally putting on some nice growth. The pumpkins are starting to flower. I don't know that we'll get any, plenty of bees out here, but I don't know that the timing will be right where we'll get pollination, but I hope so. And really pretty little patch of bachelor buttons and still some Nigella pods. This were all sown back in the fall, and they have finally bloomed. So for row crops, gosh, I just keep thinking how much weeding I'm gonna have to do when I get back. Row crops, Ageratum. We've got the first couple stems. They are very short. That happened last year too. They started out short, but then they came in much taller. So Ageratum, we've got some apple of Peru that I actually harvested on, happily. and really, really looked pretty in bouquets this week. Here's the mums that won't be flowering until the fall. And the zinnias finally putting on growth. Finally. Still, these stems are pretty darn short, but I'm hoping by the time we get back, we'll have better stem length. And you know, I didn't pinch these, and so they're single stems right now, which is a bummer, but I'm hoping that the other successions will branch out. Now, once I harvest some of these, they will put side shoots on. So they'll still give me more stuff. More chamomile and some shorter zinnias back here. Now, this was sunflowers. It's all been harvested. There's a random decorative grass there. That's pretty funny. There's some Amimagus in here that wasn't planted. It like came up from last year. But all of this will get cleared out when we get back, and I'll do probably another succession of sunflowers here. Right here, speaking of sunflowers, now these I'm so bummed that I'm probably going to miss. These are Sunflower Steve sunflowers. This is the Van Gogh Fantasy mix, and they're beautiful, and they're gonna bloom when I'm gone, and I'm so bummed about that. I do have more seeds, but we've got some dahlias starting as well. And these guys, like this one's actually ready to harvest, so is this. So I am gonna miss out on a number of sunflowers, but that's why you plant successions. Here's another succession of sunflowers here. This dahlia looking really good. And multiple stems. No idea what the variety is because I didn't plan on keeping these guys here this year. And then the branching sunflowers. Look at that one. So cool. All right, so this little patch in the front, there's like 8 plants here that are branching sunflowers. And this one is called Lemon Sorbet. Really pretty. Yeah, so I am gonna miss the harvest of a lot of the sunflowers, which sucks, but you know, you can't win when you plan your vacations. It just is what it is. Normally, like I said, we usually take our summer vacations at the first 2 weeks of June, but we couldn't do that this year, and so we planned it for now, and you know, this is just what happens. All of this amaranth is blooming, but extremely short. So I have come in wherever I could see it, and I have to come do it again, and snipped off the blooms so that it will grow taller and start to produce the blooms off of the taller ones. This is winged amobium. It still has a ways to go. This is hibiscus, mahogany splendor hibiscus. That will get huge by the end of the season. And then all of the grasses are actually coming along. The first stems on the grasses are always kind of short, but then they start putting on height. And so these are approaching good picking length. So this bed is done for the season. It's all California wildflowers and some other stuff in here, and also some just mustard, which it's a weed. I should pull it out, but the bees are using it right now, so I'm gonna leave it for them. So there's no real point in me continuing to water this patch because it's done for the season. And so I am not going to rig up irrigation to it. I am going to harvest these yarrow today and bring them back to dry since I don't need anything for fresh bouquets. I'm also going to take some of that chamomile we saw and dry that for tea. Now, one of my jobs today is to rig up the irrigation for all of these grow bags and the pots and these gorgeous containers. Look how lush this stuff is. Now, the beans need some fertilization. I'm going to come in here with a watering can and fish emulsion because these guys need fertilizer. They're low on nitrogen. But look at all these sunflowers. So all of these I will still be here when I get back. They shouldn't flower before then. We're gonna be gone for 13 days. And so, God willing and the creek don't rise, all of this will still be here, and maybe we'll have some beans by then. Over here, this bed is just a mess. I haven't done anything with it this year, but look at this Monarda. So I planted this Jacob Klein Monarda here last year, and the deer came and ate all of it, and I thought it was dead, but clearly not. So again, I haven't been harvesting this. I've been leaving it for the bees. It's called bee balm after all. They do love it. And so, and also these are long tubular pollen stems here. And so the hummingbirds love it too. So leaving all that for the wildlife. Okay, into the tunnel we go. Here's this giant stand of Sweet Annie. Normally I harvest Sweet Annie like it is here to use it as a foliage, but it will flower. Lots of tiny, beautiful little yellow flowers. So I'm gonna leave it and it's gonna do that. Do have some snapdragons here that are doing great. These are the green is so pretty, and this is how they looked last year at the house. Did not get that this year. I had so much rust. So we do have a couple of mums back here that we will have in the fall. And then we have like this one poppy that took. I think that's a giant poppy pod one, which will give us one giant flower that lasts for about 24 hours, and then this beautiful pod that's full of seeds. So more snapdragons, a couple random bells of Ireland. The reason these are random in here is that I direct sowed a whole bunch of stuff in here, and I thought nothing took because it was months and nothing showed up. But then suddenly things showed up. So here we have our dahlias. It's nice and warm in here, so they are doing well. I did pinch all of these, so we should have multiple stems on all of these when I get back. Some of them are getting close to blooming. This one is Cherish. So that's so funny. That's actually a dahlia. So that's really interesting because the tag I did plant, I'm sorry, that is a zinnia. I did plant dahlias right here. So maybe that tuber just didn't come up. Here's another one that's getting ready to go. This one looks like it's Bahama Mama. Yeah, so looking good. And then all the mums. These are Saskatoon White, looking beautiful. I can't wait to see. These are super frilly, very dense, almost peony-like mums. So that's gonna be really cool. I can't wait to harvest those. And then here we have another succession of sunflowers. You know, like I said, I plant them usually every week so that I have lots. And here we have our basils that we usually use for filler. These are, I think this is Opopeo, and then this is Miss Burns lemon basil. Another succession of zinnias. I think what I'm going to do is pinch these today so that they give me multiple branching in advance. I'll do the same thing with these guys here, but these are looking great. They still have a long ways to go, but it's nice and warm in here in the tunnel, so I think they're going to do better than the field ones, because even though we are going to get a heat wave over the next couple days, it's then going to go back down into the low 70s, which again, like I said, is beautiful for humans, but tough for heat-loving plants. So these ones in the tunnel will actually do better probably than the ones in the field, because it'll be warmer here in the tunnel. Okay, and then this row, Statice, still more Statice. Look how tall these stems are compared to the ones at home. So tall. They really like it in here. So I won't harvest any of these today. They'll still be here when I come back and dried out. I'll use them dried. Lots of Orlea still. But you know, this is a cool flower, cool season annual. So they're gonna stop. See, they're already starting to go to seed because it's gonna get too hot in here. So I may have some usable stems on this when I get back, but it doesn't really matter. That or the Amimagus, it's okay, because I have other things I can use as filler. These are usually for like spring, like I said, cool season flowers. I had planted things like Didiscus and stuff in here, and most of them didn't take. So that's okay, because I have a whole bunch of marigolds at home that need a home when I get back, and they'll go right in here. This cardinal basil is doing okay. That's going to be a filler as well. And then I have some cinnamon basil right behind it. So that's all doing good. It's still short, but it's looking great. It's looking nice and green. And then a tiny bit of celosia survived. This whole bed was transplanted in celosia, and look, none of it took, except for a couple. So I guess we just don't have celosia this year, and I'm okay with that. Over here, we still have a few straw flower left. I'll just harvest these when we get back for dried flowers, but oh, just look at that. Such a beautiful flower. And lots of Fama white. And the bees are loving it. Lots of Fama white Scabiosa. Look at that. As expected, camera's starting to overheat. All of the Dianthus, you know, doing a little bit of blooming, but not much. I mean, they'll be blooming by the time I get back. I don't think I'm going to plant these again, or at least not in a tunnel. And just a few of the asters. So as expected, the camera overheated multiple times, but you didn't miss anything. I basically just came in here and put it in the shade in the greenhouse while it cooled down a little bit. I think I'm going to have to make another camera purchase. Like, this camera's great during the cold and stuff, but you know, it's only 82 degrees Fahrenheit today. It's not like it's super hot, so it shouldn't be doing this. I think that's one of the main complaints. This is a Sony ZV-1. I love it. It's lightweight and everything, but I may have to change up for hotter temperatures. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up for today. A little bit of a short video for a farm tour, but hopefully that will give you an idea of where things stand at the farm. We leave in a day and a half, so I don't have time to do any transplanting, I don't think. I might get lucky and have some time tomorrow, but what you see is what you get. I'm a little anxious about what's going to be here when we get back, but that's always how it is. And I don't have anybody watching the farm this vacation because there's nothing to harvest. I did tell the pet sitters to harvest vegetables and stuff at the house and eggs, because now we have 2 chickens laying. But you know, beyond that, I didn't do anything about the farm. So it is what it is, and hopefully everything will still be here when I get back. More things blooming. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful time in your garden, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.